Elle, it is fantastic to see you. Welcome back from NABJ. Some news you might have missed is pole vaulting searches have absolutely skyrocketed this week. I'm wondering if you know why.
Because we finally have this generation's version of the Elephant Man. Hey!
Oh,
Welcome to the Elle Duncan Show with Gary Striesky. I've been dying to ask a man
oh, here we
how
go.
he feels about this particular story, and we're gonna get to that story
hmm
because it's an amazing story.
it is. It's a
But
story.
but from one body part to another, Gary, I feel a little bit like an.
Oh,
Yeah, I made that
okay.
segue.
That was a
Um,
nice
I,
segue.
I want to address the elephant, not the elephant man, in the room as we say hello to you on this, Monday afternoon. And a lot of reaction to our last podcast, and in
Okay.
particular, a conversation that we had surrounding Cheryl Swoops, who had joined a podcast and was, talking about quote unquote Caitlin Clark, amongst various other topics. And I'm always really hesitant to sort of address things like a second and a third time after addressing them the first time, just because
Okay.
it keeps it fresh in the news cycle, right? But I want to address the situation despite the fact I've already apologized last Friday because of a couple of reasons. A, because I just went to NABJ and I sold these journalists on doing proper research. And B, because I want to answer to the folks who think that I waffled or took a step back because I was somehow influenced by some woke mob that forced me to. So the situation, very quickly, if you don't know, was I kind of took the bait and I said that Cheryl Swoops, based on some of these clickbait headlines from the story about Caitlin Clark, was giving some hater. It was giving off hater. Now here's where I messed up. I didn't do enough research. Okay. I have been, Gary, working at a furious pace, as you know. And I have been telling myself subliminally for a while, like, you need to slow down, or you need to be putting more thought into the things that you say, or you need to be doing a little bit more research. We tend to put our feet up a little bit in the summer. And I've been sort of, jack of all trades, master of noneing this thing for a while. And it bit me in the ass last week because I made a judgment on someone and about someone without knowing the full story, without listening to the actual podcast, without not getting the full context behind it. When I said Cheryl Swoops was coming off as hatery, I was looking at essentially a paraphrased quote of like Katie Lou Samuelson is better than Caitlin Clark, or these things that were attributed to her. And instead of doing what I should have done was saying, well, let me hear it for myself. I just reacted to paraphrasing type of headlines. And I have a responsibility to do better because you can wing some shit in this job, Gary. You can wing Snoop's antics at the Olympics. You can wing, he got a big and he know how to use it. You can wing a lot of these things. But when you are going to make a judgment on someone and it is going to validate an entire group of people who have said abhorrent things to said person, you've got to be right. You've got to know and be informed on what you're going to say. And I didn't do that. I did not do that. And I sent yet again an entire vitriolic mob to Cheryl Swoop's doorsteps. And I gave them validation to say nasty, horrible things to her. See, Elle Duncan says she's a hater. Let me be nasty to Cheryl Swoops now. And I am so sorry to her for doing that. Listen, we have a job, Gary, where we are going to say things sometimes that people are not going to like. And I stand on my opinion of things when I am well informed, when I know I am not just being inflammatory for the sake of being inflammatory, when I know I've done my research, I can stand on said opinion. But I waffled, AKA apologized, because I could not in this situation. Because when I went back and actually listened to it after I had already started all this shit, I was embarrassed. I was like, there was so much more context behind this conversation that was necessary. And I beg people. I sat at NABJ, Gary, and I told these young journalists, you have to be a master researcher. You have to stop in a world of bad information being disseminated. We have to be the ones to do the research. We have to know both sides so that we can be informed. And then I walked right upstairs to that hotel room and I didn't look at this rundown on this show for a second because I've been playing fast and loose with just ad libbing this shit. And I made a snap judgment and it started some shit. And I'm sorry. I am so sorry to Cheryl Swoops because she deserved better. If I was going to lay that at her doorstep, then I needed to do a better job at my job. And I did not. I failed at my job last Thursday. And that doesn't make it any better for Cheryl because now forever on the internet, there lives a clip of me being like, Cheryl Swoops is a hater. Despite the apology that I made the next day, despite going back and going, oops, I fucked up. That lives forever now. I can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, but I'm asking those journalists that I met to do better than me. Use this as an example. Use this as an example. We owe the people that we criticize that respect. We owe them the respect of knowing the full story. And if we can't do that, then we have got to have irrational amounts of humility and accountability when we do it wrong. And I did it wrong last Thursday. I did not answer to some woke mob. I did not feel the pressure from the basketball community. No one texted me. I just did the best thing that I could do in that moment, which was admit that I effed up and say, I'm sorry. And I hope that Cheryl forgives me and that I will do better and that this was a very teachable moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize, and I'm hoping that we can all sort of move on and focus back on like the part of the podcast that we love the most, which is the sports part of the podcast. We've had a lot going on in the Olympics. You mentioned women's basketball. Certainly they are rolling. What are they now? 58, 59-0. They've
No, they
never,
ain't lost.
ever lost. Like imagine never, this is a million iterations of this team and they still consistently have never lost an Olympic game. It's incredible.
I mean, at this point, the double-digit wins, which they had yet again, this time by beating Germany, a team that was undefeated in the same group stage, and that's not saying much. Obviously, we've only played up to this point 2 games. So another double-digit win is less news for this team, for U.S. women's basketball, than any other win would be for the rest of the Olympic field. To put it in perspective for everybody else, it is going to be front page global headlines if and when they lose a basketball game, because it will be the first time they've done that in 3 decades. The Olympics team.
Does that feel fair though? Because it sort of feels like there's a game within a game. It's like, they're getting to a point where if they lose, they're going to be eliminated. So certainly we wouldn't want
Yes,
that. But there's also like the idea of it's kind of like college football. It's not just that you win, it's how you win, right?
correct.
You have to beat
Style
everybody.
points.
You have to beat them. Yeah, like style points are so big. So it's like, yeah, they can get the gold medal, but if they were to lose a game along the way, they would have somehow broke some secret trust between
Correct.
generations of basketball players.
A single digit win, people will be like, oh, whoa, wait a minute. You didn't win by double digit yet. You won another goal. Okay, but it was a 9-point game. That's going to be an issue. It's going to be problematic. All right, if and when it happens. Listen, we are on our way. And when I say we, listen, I am all aboard the red, white, and blue bandwagon, just like everybody else watching and paying attention to the Olympics are. We are on our way. I am confident about that. And listen, the medal count is indicative of such. China has right now, as it's presently being recorded, Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time on Monday, they have 2 more golds than we do, but we have 20 more medals than the
Yeah.
next closest country, which is China. I think right now we're at 70 something and China's at 50 something.
Yeah, we had a few more goals over the weekend. Shout out to Katie Ledecky. She wins gold in the 800-meter free. She now has 9 gold medals and 14 Olympic medals in total. Like
It's sick.
she's so sick. And again, like in the same way that Simone Biles is considered geriatric for swimming. I mean, 27 years old isn't like a spring chicken in the pool. We certainly have seen some, athletes that have swam into their mid and late 30s and even 40s, but that's incredible.
Oh, we've lost Elle. We've lost. Elle is down. Oh, Elle, you've rejoined us. Thank you.
Bruh, the irony that I am talking about elite level athletes doing
Yeah.
the most incredible feats in the world,
Yeah.
and I am incapable of being athletic enough to sit in a chair and talk on a microphone. Are you joking?
It was a bad look. Listen, it was a bad look. We're gonna play this one back. We're gonna see how we can get better. We just checked the film, we watched the film, and then we just hope for a better outcome next time. Just hope for a better showing.
It was just so bad. I love that you mentioned checking the film. Something happened today in gymnastics when I was watching earlier that I didn't even know was a thing. Now, this is not new. Like, I think really good analysts during the Olympics, Gary, explain everything. It's like
Uh-huh.
Michael Scott, say I'm like I'm five. Like, explain it to me as if I've never, ever seen a single gymnastics competition in my life. And so we're watching US gymnastics on Monday. This is going to be the official swan song for Simone Biles and all the rest of the US gymnastics athletes, as this is the event finals, the final day of it, and they're done. So earlier in the day, we saw both Suni Lee and Simone Biles fall off the beam uncharacteristically, and they don't medal. But it all came down to the floor, which is, of course, Simone Biles' most famous event, if you will. She is so incredible on the floor. It's going to be her and Suni Lee, I'm sorry, and Jordan Childs in her only event final with an opportunity for their final medal of this games. So Rebecca Andrade, who, by the way, I feel so bad for this girl. Again, I didn't know anything about her till this Olympics. She's the Brazilian gymnast who is apparently would be Simone Biles if Simone
Correct.
Biles would just go away. This girl
Correct.
always comes in second to Simone Biles, the greatest of all time. By any other measure, this girl's one of the greatest of all times, but she has the misfortune of playing gymnastics in the Simone Biles era. And so she does this amazing routine on the floor today, and she's awesome, and she's in first place. And here comes Simone. And Simone would have beat her if not for the fact that she stepped out of bounds twice.
Mhm.
Okay. So she's sitting in second place. And then there's a Romanian gymnast that's in third. Jordan Childs goes. She's the last one on the mat. She performs, had a couple of not so clean landings, but a really good performance overall. And it turns out she does not medal. And it's very disappointing for Jordan Childs because this is her only and final event. She really wanted this. Or did she not? There
Oh,
was a, inquisition.
oh,
There was,
big word.
a challenge, if you will, from Team USA. They felt like Jordan Childs should have had a higher degree of difficulty to start, so they did an inquiry. I had never heard that this was a thing. You could do an inquiry, which is basically like a, "You sure about that score?" And upon further review, in the biggest reversal of fortunes, Jordan Childs goes from fifth place to third place because
Bam.
they agreed with the inquiry. She medals, she gets that bronze. And the girl from Romania who thought she was bringing her country their first gymnastics medal in 12 years is left off the podium in the end. So just, I can't even imagine
What?
what's worse, just being like 10th and knowing you're not winning, or being the person that literally thought you were winning a bronze medal only to find out about 90 seconds later it was not to be. Ah, brutal.
Damn. Okay. So I'm just likening this to football because duh, American. So they threw the red challenge flag on
Yeah,
the officials, and the officials were like, upon further review, okay. And then at the end of it all, this is why we talk about FPI and
yeah,
strength of schedule,
yeah.
because they have to give their routine prior to it so the judges know exactly what these gymnasts are about to attempt. And if you are playing Georgia, Bama, LSU, Ole Miss, you're going to be rated a little bit higher from the jump instead of playing Citadel and, you know, ODU, and no disrespect to Jay Harrison, the Old Dominion folks, and Oregon State. Okay, this
Sure.
makes perfect sense. Strength of schedule and FPI. It's all cyclical, baby.
Yeah.
Gymnastics is just like college football.
But imagine Florida State last year being able to go back to the college
True.
playoff committee and go,
True.
"I need you to do a second look and tell me if you want to rework your score."
Damn.
And
And
then
then
they're like, "You know what? We do." And you're in. Like, can you imagine, like, in that situation would have been Bama that was like, "What are
yeah,
you
that's actually
talking about?"
crazy. But they were like, you know what? We will next year when we expand this playoff field from 4 to 12.
And
Hell yeah.
guarantee that you all get in. So my daughter, though, as I'm watching this gymnastics, and it was relevant to me with something that happened yesterday too. She's like, "Are we sad?" I said, "Why would we be sad?" She's like, "Well, we lost." I was like, "We didn't lose. Simone Biles came in second, Jordan Childs came in third." And she was like, "But we lost." And I was like,
Dude.
"Oh, no, like, no." You guys, this is the problem with the Olympics, that we've just put such an emphasis on gold, or even someone like a Simone Biles just because she's favored. Even if she didn't win that, she's the second best on that day person in the whole world at the floor. Like, it's unbelievable, and I felt that watching Sha'Carri Richardson because she came in with so much expectation.
Yeah.
Her story has been littered with adversity. She sort of rebranded and did this reimagining and stripped down all of the, like, everything that originally put her on the scene, and in part, all this obviously because of her talent as well. Nobody cares that you've got this, like, wild colored hair and long nails and long lashes if you're not actually really good too. She stripped all that down and wanted to make it all about the track. And she's had such an amazing comeback. And the only thing she's racing is the 100-meter final in the Olympics. And she comes in
Mhm.
second place. I'm looking at her and I'm seeing the disappointment on her face. And I'm like, Sha'Carri, like, you're the second fastest person in the world at this thing, and what an amazing testament to your talent. And it was somehow we still were left feeling dissatisfied despite the fact that Julian Alfred, the girl out of St. Lucia, was just shot out of a freaking rocket. That girl was
Correct. Out of
she was
nowhere.
like, she was not going to be denied. In the heat she ran with Sha'Carri, she was that good. She was that good in the final as well, and I just don't think there's anything wrong in saying, "Look at where she was. Look at where Sha'Carri was, and look where she ended up," which is on a podium representing her country. I think it's an incredible story, and one that just feels like the wind is taken out of it because of the color of the medal.
Okay. Can we real quick circle back, Elle, to Eva? Just her expectations. I mean, I love the little girl. I mean, it's dude, it's
Did we
gold or
lose?
bust.
Right.
I'm not cheering for anybody outside of the US.
No.
Everybody is my enemy.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I'm learning she's very toxic. She's sort of
No,
nationalist and
hell
also,
no, no,
yeah,
hell no.
second place is first loser. I'm like, "Okay, Ricky Bobby,
Hell yeah,
God."
that's what I'm saying. Her favorite movie must be Talladega Nights. I'm loving how I'm seeing Omar and Elle cultivate their family and raise their children to have sky high expectations
Correct.
both on the field and off of it.
Well, needless to say, Gary, she felt really good and nationalistic when Noah Lyles
Dude,
won in the 100-meter men. Like, that
that
gave her
was
all the license.
electric. I think we've talked about this. I've polled everybody. As a matter of fact, I polled everybody Saturday morning during Sports Center. Like, what's the one sporting event that you would love to see before in person once in your lifetime if you can go to one sporting event? And mine has always been the 100-meter final at the Olympics. It's just 9 seconds of, I mean, that is like authentic, primal fight or flight, literally, exertion of athleticism. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you are
One
the
burst.
fastest dude on the planet. That's
Yep.
so sick.
It's
And
so
seeing it
sick.
yesterday was awesome.
It was such an awesome race, and it was interesting too, before the race even started, I'm sitting there going, I love Noah Lyles' personality, like, I love
Yes.
all the histrionics, the jumping around, and sort of the confidence and the braggadocio and saying, "I'm the fastest man in the world." He's had to apologize or not apologize or respond for why he's so cocky or this and that and all these things. He's like, "Listen, I was the world champion fastest man, which means I'm the fastest man in the world, but that's cool. All right, you need me to have an Olympic medal to say it? I'll take care of that soon, right?" But the whole time I'm watching going, "God, I want this man to win because if he does not win, they are going to annihilate this man."
Cook him.
They are going to give it to him, and I wanted this for him, and I'm gonna not gonna lie. Thank God for photo finishes and people that know a whole hell of a lot more about track than I do, because upon my layman's view, watching it live at a birthday
Jamaica
party
won.
with all the I thought he was in 3rd. I
Straight
thought
up.
he came in 3rd behind Thompson, the guy that was originally in 2nd, and then the other American. I was like, "Oh, he came in 3rd place." I didn't even know if he actually medaled. And
Hmm.
it looked Noah Lyles felt the same thing. You could see it when he
Yeah.
goes up to the Jamaican guy afterwards and he's like, "I think you got it, man." It took a photo review and one of those times that puts my lack of math knowledge in a brain pretzel. I don't even know how you actually say this number. He won by point zero zero 0.005 of a second.
5 thousandths of a second.
5 thousandths of a
Yeah.
second.
Noah Lyles, a couple of months ago, took on the entirety of the NBA. He straight up called out the NBA about, "What are you guys calling yourself world champions for? World champions of what? I'm out here racing up against every single flag on the planet. Like, we are world champions." So, there were so many hoop heads that were hate watching
Oh,
Noah
yeah.
Lyles,
Ready.
hoping that he would lose this race.
There were so many Americans that were like, "That guy," because
Straight
again,
up.
people don't like irrational confidence anyway. He was a little out of pocket with the NBA thing only because of this. When you say things like world champions, right?
Yeah,
People from other countries play in
correct.
the NBA,
The
and
world's best live here.
NBA is the league of note in the world. It's the best league in the world comprised of the best players in the world, meaning that it is technically they are world champions. They are the best team
Yeah.
in the world. He certainly set off a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I wanted that for him, but it begs the question for this. When it comes to competition,
Mhm.
are you a Biles or are you a Lyles? Okay. Simone Biles, despite having one of the greatest resumes already coming in, all right, has been very quiet on the front ends of these competitions.
Mhm.
She hasn't done any of the barking or the you're about to see or any of the sort of prognosticating and the none of that. She's been quiet as a church mouse. Now that she won the gold medal with her team and the team all around, then won the all around, then won the gold medal on the beat or on the vault, and now silver on the floor. Simone Biles is out here making sure everybody that ever talked about her is aware of it. I mean, she is talking the talk, and I love this. But do you prefer it that way, where you're quiet till you win and then everybody can come get some? Or do you prefer the Lyles approach, which is all of on the front end, all of the watch what I can do, all of the guessing and the predicting and the I'm the best and I'm the fastest and talk, 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 which puts a lot more pressure on you, but also makes the satisfaction even sweeter. Which one are you, a Lyles or a Biles?
Dude. L all day, twice over, Simone Biles. Do you know how much bravado you have to have? I mean, take yourself off of the world stage as a Noah Lyles being a world-class athlete, just in general, how much bravado you have to call your shot in any given field. Listen, we can be inwardly confident about our abilities, but the second those things don't line up with the results, you have egg all over your face, and there's no reprieve. There's nothing about that you could do about it. So I am all day like, let me surprise them with the outcome, and then they will have no ammunition to attack me with. What are you?
Oh, I'm 100% a Biles.
All day.
I
Wait,
am,
hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. L, you're like one of the most confident people I've ever known.
no, not ahead of time, though. I've never been that way. I'm not one of those people that's like, "We're gonna beat your ass. I've never been like that, but I have said this numerous times. I am a graceless winner. Like, even with the teams that I have no control over, even teams that I just support, I'm not gonna say much. I'm gonna be very complimentary about your team before we, play the game. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of reverse psychology and talk about how much my team sucks and how you have all of these strengths.
True.
And then after we beat you, I'm gonna unload the chamber. I am gonna make sure I write down things that I'm gonna say if we win, right? Like, I am that calculated with my talking, but ahead of time, it's just never really been me, ever.
But
Mostly
you
because and not it's not just because I would have egg all over my face. Certainly, you can't beat me without worrying about that. I have it all the time. It's much more about the fact, like, psychologically, I think it's a jinx. Like, I think that it is superstition-wise, which superstitions have been really big in my life, playing sports my whole life.
Mhm.
Superstition wise, I just don't think it's smart to sort of tempt fate and test the sports
I
gods by
get it.
being too confident and making too many promises, especially because I have no control over the outcome.
Okay, well, let me ask you this because you are good at many things. You are innately, like myself, a Simone Biles, but there is definitely something in your life, maybe a couple of things that you can pinpoint that you are a Noah Lyles about. Think about that because for me, for example, Jackson just put it in the group chat. I will Noah Lyles to my grave the fact that I am the best Pop-A-Shot player. I think not, no, nay, I know at ESPN. I might be the best Pop-A-Shot player in the state of Connecticut. Hell, I'm not kidding. Anybody can get this work at Pop-A-Shot. I'm
Wow.
telling you right now,
I feel like
nobody can
you're
see me.
goading me because now I'm like intrigued to see you play Pop-A-Shot, something I don't have time for or normally wouldn't care to
L,
see.
nobody, I'll get the video. Nobody is seeing me on Pop-A-Shot right now. I'm telling you, nobody can see me at Pop-A-Shot. That's, I would, listen, Jackson's in the chat right now. We're going to set this up. We're going to play it back. Nobody is seeing me on Pop-A-Shot. So, L, what are you, Noah Lyles at?
Ooh. Oh man.
Stop, don't go the humble
No,
route
legit.
on me
No,
now.
I don't
Don't
have like a
go.
I don't have like a specific, I mean, and you also caged it with like, I'm the best Pop-A-Shot player at ESPN. Like, okay, well, if we're just limiting it to
That's
within the
4,000 people.
confines of Bristol,
That's 4,000
sure.
people.
That's fair. That's fair. I would say I'm probably the best, like, I don't know,
Singer?
singer. Yeah.
There
Like
you go.
amongst like the sports center anchors, I would be fine there. But when it comes to like the thing I'm actually like really confident about, like the one thing that like gives me no nerves and I'm like, I'll kill that. Like the one thing I can stand on is
Let me
like
guess.
hosting, like my ability to like host events.
I was just about to say host an award show. I was legit about to say, let me guess. And it's going to be in front of a microphone. No
Yes.
script. If somebody was like, oh my God, we just lost the host to the Grammys. Elle, get out there. You'd be straight.
I would do that. I would
You'd
be
be
the one
good.
on the plane that's like, do we have a doctor? I'd be like, I'll do it.
Hey, hey, hey. They're not asking for a social media specialist. That tweet was so funny. That's what I was gonna, that was my guess. Was anything with a mic in front of an audience, it's a wrap.
I am very confident in my abilities to ad lib in front of a microphone in front of people and keep it moving, make it fun. Like,
Straight up.
I would honestly say that's the one thing where I'm always like, I'll kill that shit. The rest of it, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Let me do this. Let me, because like having a checks and balances too, and understanding your weaknesses is important so that you can kind of plan for them when you're researching or preparing for something.
Yeah,
That's the one thing where I'm like, no matter the situation, it's not a bad situation. Like no
you're
one
good.
can put me in a bad situation when it comes to that because I can work my way out of it.
That's good. If the bosses are listening, and if y'all don't have somebody locked in for the ESPYs next year, may I suggest one Elle Duncan?
I'm gonna slip you that 20 too.
I got you.
We've been telling
Please,
them the same thing. Come on, homie, call me up.
please.
I won't host by myself. I mean, I listen, I think I'd make a great sidekick to like a Travis Kelsey.
Oh,
Just throw that
hey,
out there.
yeah.
A Jason Kelsey. Let me be
Oh,
the sidekick to the Kelsey brothers,
you mean our new colleague,
Yeah.
recent coworker, Jason
What?
Kelsey?
Yeah. Call someone, Jason. Do you know what an ESPN you can talk to? Can you help me
Yo,
out, brother?
he's gonna hit you up for that Rolodex. What are you talking about?
Okay, on the other side of the show, we're going to take a quick break, but one of our favorite things from the Olympics has been just social media just going all the way off and showing us that while, yes, we're watching some incredible feats of athleticism, there's also a whole entire subgroup of people that call themselves athletes but aren't. We will talk about that on the other side of the Elle Duncan Show. We back on the Elle Duncan Show. Gary Streisky, never sitting at full position. Bruh, okay, I have been dying. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. I've been dying to debrief with someone who has just as much of a lowbrow sense of humor as I do. After
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Ammirati, the Frenchman,
Mm-hmm.
who was involved in pole vault,
Yep.
did not get to advance or medal or any of those things because as he was about to clear the pole, his pole was not fantastic. It was just a stick that hindered him by brushing against. Okay, I'm tiptoeing around the fact that he had a big giant and it affected his results. And while he didn't win a medal, did he win at life? The whole world knows you as the man who is so big you couldn't clear it over the pole.
It cost him an Olympic record. And at what cost? Well, now he has the record, I'm guessing unofficially. I mean, this guy would podium. This guy would be gold medal if we were if that was an Olympic sport,
In
if
the Olympics?
that's the one. That's what I was looking for. So while Elle wants to debrief on the topic after seeing that, I think the whole planet would like to debrief, okay, Anthony Ammirati. You know what I'm saying? That was unbelievable. Elle, like
Oh
he
my
he didn't
god.
medal, but this dude, he's a winner. That's it.
I wish, and I haven't seen a ton from this man. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
leaning in on this
right.
or if he's
Stop it,
embracing. I
Elle.
mean, I've
Stop.
seen plenty of this man,
You've
just,
seen
just in a zoom in still format
oh
type of
my
way.
God.
I haven't seen like if he's leaning into this at all, but like in my mind, like when they ask him like about the fact that his, you know what got in the way, he's just like King Kong ain't got on me. Like lean in. Just embrace the fact that you have become Sir Package. That
Straight
every
up.
time everyone sees you from now on, it is hammer time.
It's unbelievable. I'm like, listen, Elle, if that was me, I would have cleared that pole, all right, with a walking lane to spare. Me and my counterparts and colleagues, all right, we are looking up to this man and being like, holy hell, which of the poles in this pole vault are we talking about now? Because we're not even talking about the actual pole vaulting. We're literally just talking about the former of the name. I mean, this guy is a national hero.
Bruh, this dude could go on OnlyFans and attempt to pole vault using his own pole. He would make so
Ah,
much money. Like, can you imagine? Like, can he do it? Can he clear this with just his own? He probably could. If I'm being on,
golly.
I gotta be honest, Gary. There's a lot of like, especially in this particular Olympics, there's been a lot of like bulge conversations. Like,
Yes.
look at
Mhm.
this man on this team, and like, how big is it's? There's just been I don't know if it's because social media has just never been bigger and it's such a big part of what we're doing now at the Olympics, but I just feel like there's been a lot of frank conversation.
And I don't understand how fertility rates are like at an all-time low globally when we got freaking absolute units walking around from sea to shining sea, every corner of the globe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't
Mhm.
get it. I don't get it. But this
Yeah.
man, again, a national hero. All right.
He
That's
really
it.
is. So he is undone by his giant penis. Some people are just undone, well, because they frankly were never in the conversation because they're not
Yeah.
very good at sporting.
Giant lack
And
of talent.
yeah, yeah. And you've been combing the internet to find those very people so that you can make them feel bad about themselves because you're mean.
Well, the good thing about that is they've actually, as our guy Anthony Ammirati is not leaning in to his misfortune, as I use air quotes, these people are completely leaning in
Okay.
to the circumstances surrounding why they didn't make the Olympic team. This is the best trending topic on TikTok in a long time. This is right up there with a couple of years ago when Twitter took over with World War III. Me and the homies are about to go to World War III and we're, piloting helicopters and stuff. So Elle, click on some of these links
Okay, I'm going to the
and
first
let's
one.
let's walk them, let's walk through them. This is a
This
young lady on a diving board
uh-huh.
who is about to make quite the splash.
Okay. She's standing there. She's ready, arms out. And oh no.
She is
She
beauty.
literally just did the world's most beautiful back flop. I mean,
She
there
is
was no
grace.
turning. Oh, man.
And the
Oh,
best part is it was in front of a packed audience
oh, yeah. Everyone
and
was
the
there.
audible gasps. So go ahead, just have a gander through a
All
couple
right.
of these.
All right. I'm moving
This
on to
one's really hard. This one is the uneven bars,
okay.
which according to everybody that you talk to who is an expert in the field, is the most difficult gymnast specification.
Okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. She let go and then she basically got good in the butt.
There it is. To in a related point, I did ask the girlfriend. I was like, "Hey, you should get some old footage of you and like join this trend." To which she was like, "Oh, no footage exists of me doing poorly in gymnastics." I was like, "Oh, excuse me. Why aren't you in Paris right now?" She'll like me bringing that up. What's the
Oh,
third one, Elle?
a little girl just got a little stuck. She's
Oh yeah,
stuck
she
on
did
the
get
uneven
stuck.
bar.
She got
Oh, yeah.
stuck.
Yeah.
But she wins a gold medal for perseverance.
Sound like Dora the Explorer.
We have
I'm
another
back at a
pool
pool
situation.
again. Let's see. I've got a pool sitch happening here. Um, Okay, it's another diving situation. Diving's hard, guys. On the springboard dive. Oh no, she hit her head. That is always the worst. So I tried to do a little bit of like diving and stuff when I swam back in the day, and especially springboard diving. It's really, really hard, and there is always a risk that you're going to smack your head.
It's mad dangerous.
It's very
They
dangerous.
should put cannonballs into the Olympic diving category because that's both fun and entertaining and visually stimulating. Elle, we got one more.
Yeah, well, this is a compilation of just
It
multiple
is.
people not being good, from gymnastics to pole vaulting,
Whoa,
not pole vaulting, high jump.
high jump.
Yeah,
Well, listen,
gymnastics.
I can tell you why we weren't successful there on the high jump. Listen, and that's I can't compete in any of this stuff, Elle. So again, I'm not one to preach from my high horse. This is not one of these low Noah Lyles things that I'm confident in. So I'm just saying, I'm glad that these people have taken in unison to social media to say, hey, better luck next year. 2028, we're bringing it home to LA.
Yeah, I think that's what's so interesting too, is we sort of put a button on this show, is some of the Olympic athletes that we're not going to see anymore. Largely, I'm talking about the gymnasts at this point, a lot of the swimmers now. And then just the idea that, like, you would think on paper this would be Simone Biles' final gymnastics
Has she
appearance
said
at the
anything?
Olympics, but she hasn't, right? And you gotta wonder if that there's not the lore of doing it here in the States, in LA, like, if there's
Straight
some of
up.
that as well. Here's my thing, I mean, it's still 4 years from now, like, we have some time, but if you're Simone Biles, you've proven yourself to still be the best, and by a lot, and honestly, she wins gold medal today on the floor if she doesn't step out of bounds twice. If she
Yes.
only steps out of bounds 1 time, she wins the gold medal, and when it comes to the all around, it wasn't particularly close. So the idea that, like, she's hinting around like Rebecca Andrade is so good. Like, I don't know, this was really
Mhm.
hard. Maybe I can't do this anymore. I can't imagine that you just walk away when you're still not just at the top of your game, but like by a resounding amount. And
Correct.
so we'll see Jordan Chiles saying the same exact thing. I'll be interested to see if they want to make a push for it, considering that it is, it's homegrown next year or next time.
Same thing with LeBron, who pretty much has come out and said, when they were asked, hey, what are you going to do about the 2028 LA Olympics? And he was like, I'm going to be as far away from LA in 2028, these Olympics and the traffic as possible. So without saying it, he's basically said it. But I mean, to a certain point with LeBron, too, he's 39, so he'll be 43. Like, at what capacity would the Olympics team need LeBron to be Captain America? I mean, in 4 years, you got to assume he'll still be one of the twelve best players in the country. Like, I wouldn't rule out
A
seeing
lot of
LeBron.
things happen in 4 years, but I also think that there's
Correct.
something to be said for, like, there's a lot of people giving Diana Taurasi a lot of like, "Oh, okay, great. Like, we couldn't do without your 3 points or your this or that." But we talked about this on this very show when people sort of were comparing, like, well, why Diana Taurasi got it over someone like a Caitlin Clark. And the thing was that if Caitlin Clark was always going to probably come off the bench and not get a ton of minutes playing, that even if Diana Taurasi, if the same thing befell her, or even at the time Chelsea Gray, because she wasn't back yet, we didn't know if
Mhm.
she would actually play, they provide something off the bench too, and that is experience and leadership. They
Sure.
provide something that is not just quantified with a box score. And LeBron would be able to provide that same exact thing should he choose that he'd want to have some type of role. Do I think in 4 years from now he's starting for an American team? Probably not. Like, I don't see that. But I think putting him on a team as someone who can come in and be an energy guy and also just be a great leader
Yeah.
and be the best representative of American basketball that we've ever had in their respect. Like, I you can see Diana Taurasi every time they come in a huddle and she's talking and she's coaching up and she's doing this and she's giving feedback. Like,
Yeah.
there is something that you can't really measure that is immeasurable and a great contribution. And I could see LeBron doing something like that in the future.
Definitely. All right. So from the NBA to the NABJ, which you just got back from.
Yeah.
So you are tapping me into now heading to AAJA. This is my first trip to AAJAL. So any tips on how to handle it, how to name reconnaissance myself in the 72 hours that I'll be down in Austin?
This is a real tip. You're gonna end up getting a lot of people that wanna connect with you, that want you to watch reels, and I think that's a really important part of what we do. These kids are
Mhm.
just looking for feedback, they're looking for someone, to guide them, so obviously being very transparent and honest is great, but also maybe setting up, like, a separate email. Legit, I mean, I've been
Oh,
doing it in a in ABJ for like 8 years now, and I still never remember ahead of time. Set up a separate email account that literally is just like Gary watches tapes at gmail.com or whatever it is, so that you've got all of them cleanly, like sort of in one place. Cause a lot of times I give them my email and
That's
it
a
gets
great idea.
muddied in with other emails and Nordstrom Rack coupons and all that stuff. So I would say making like a separate place where they can connect with you is really important. But other than that, like, listen, you are as approachable and nice and warm and honest as they come. And that's all these kids are looking for is that. And they're looking for someone to tell them to take a deep breath. They're all
Hell yeah.
very, 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 very tense.
Oh, for sure. We still are. We've been in the game for decades. All right, cool. I'm doing it. I'll
Have a
be coming
great
to
time in
you
Austin,
from
friend.
Austin on Thursday.
All right,
Yeah,
we will see you guys on Thursday. Remember to rate, review, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, remember, do your research. It will always serve you well.
I'll let him know.